The War of 1812 is often remembered as a confusing conflict with shifting goals and an ambiguous outcome. For many, it's a war overshadowed by the Napoleonic struggles in Europe, and its legacy is often debated by historians on both sides of the border. But what if it had ended differently? What if the United States had achieved the victory its leaders dreamed of, forever altering the fate of North America? Imagine American forces, driven by manifest destiny and a hunger for expansion, achieving a decisive victory that would echo through the centuries. In this alternate history, the campaigns of 1813 and 1814 do not end in stalemate or frustration. Instead, American armies press their advantage, refusing to retreat. American generals coordinate their attacks with newfound precision, severing vital supply lines and isolating British and Canadian defenders from reinforcements and resources. Instead of being repulsed at Stony Creek or Chrysler's Farm, American armies push through, capturing Quebec City after a grueling siege that tests the limits of endurance and willpower. Montreal falls soon after, and the momentum of the American advance overwhelms the defenders, leaving little hope for a counterattack. The resistance of figures like Isaac Brock and Tecumseh becomes a tragic footnote, not a founding myth. Their heroism is remembered, but their cause is lost in the tide of conquest. With major cities under American control, the Treaty of Ghent is no negotiation. It's a dictation of terms. The British, exhausted and outmaneuvered, have little choice but to accept. Exhausted by the Napoleonic Wars, Britain cedes Upper and Lower Canada and Rupert's Land to the United States. The map of North America is redrawn overnight. The American flag now flies from the Gulf of Mexico to the Arctic Ocean, a symbol of a new era and a nation transformed by victory. The dream of a continental republic is realized, and the threat of a British presence on the northern border vanishes. The United States stands unchallenged across the continent. Washington celebrates the liberation of their northern brethren, believing they bring liberty and republicanism to a vast new frontier. The mood is triumphant, and hopes are high for a united future. But as celebrations fade, the challenge of governing a skeptical, conquered population becomes clear. The realities of occupation and cultural difference begin to surface. The war may be over, but the struggle for Canada has just begun. The fate of this new American North remains uncertain as old loyalties and new ambitions collide. American attempts to govern their new northern territories quickly ran into trouble. The challenges were immediate and complex, far beyond what Washington had anticipated. Washington assumed the French-speaking Canadians and English-speaking Loyalists would embrace American democracy. They were wrong. The people of these regions had their own histories, loyalties, and ways of life, which did not simply vanish with a change of flag. These were conquered people, loyal to their traditions and, for many, the British Crown. Their sense of identity was deeply rooted in their past, and American rule felt foreign and imposed. American officials were seen as occupiers, not liberators, and distrust poisoned every interaction. The biggest issue, representation, quickly became a flashpoint as locals demanded a voice in their own governance. Should these territories become states with full rights or be treated as occupied provinces? The question sparked heated debate both locally and in Washington. Congress hesitated, fearing a new political bloc that could disrupt the delicate balance between North and South. The uncertainty left the new territories in limbo, fueling further unrest. This only deepened Canadian resentment, making them feel like second-class citizens. Many began to question whether American promises of liberty and equality would ever apply to them. Legal and cultural differences, French civil code, Catholic Church, Loyalist heritage, clashed with American norms. Everyday life became a battleground of customs and beliefs. Attempts to impose American systems were seen as attacks on identity. Resistance grew both quietly and openly as people clung to their traditions. Ultimately, the US imposed military governance, excluding locals from real power. The promise of self-rule faded as martial law became the new reality. Resentment grew, and the promise of liberty rang hollow. Discontent simmered beneath the surface, threatening to erupt at any moment. Instead of a union, the US found itself ruling over a vast, unhappy northern dominion, ripe for resistance and unrest. A land where American authority was always in question. Resentment soon turned to resistance. Secret societies and militias formed across the former Canadian provinces. In Quebec, Les Patriotes waged guerrilla war, raiding American supply depots and targeting officials. In English-speaking areas, loyalists built networks to aid escape and gather intelligence, hoping for British return. Uprisings like the Upper Canada Rebellion became coordinated efforts to destabilize American rule. The US responded with force, crackdowns, arrests, executions, and tried to Americanize the population through schools and settlement. These policies backfired, deepening the divide and fueling unrest. The cost of policing Canada drained the US Treasury and divided public opinion. Some Americans called for withdrawal, others demanded harsher measures. The Canadian question became a festering wound in American politics. The dream of peaceful union had become a nightmare of colonial administration. Winning territory proved far easier than winning hearts and minds. The annexation of Canada shattered any hope of Anglo-American reconciliation. Britain never accepted the loss, viewing the US as a hostile, expansionist rival. The 19th century became an era of intense competition, not cooperation. The Royal Navy harassed American shipping and blocked trade, while border disputes threatened open war. The two nations entered a Cold War, locked in perpetual antagonism. Economically, Britain closed its markets to American goods, forcing the US to industrialize behind tariffs. British investment and immigration shifted elsewhere, isolating America. Cultural ties withered, mutual suspicion replaced shared heritage. British writers depicted Americans as aggressive land grabbers. Americans saw the British as imperial tyrants. Decades of hostility eroded any common ground. The special relationship never emerged. Instead, two English-speaking nations grew apart, shaping a divided world. The memory of Canada remained a bitter wedge between them. When the American Civil War erupted in 1861, Britain saw its chance. The Union, weakened by internal strife and the Canadian question, was vulnerable. Britain, officially neutral, secretly aided the Confederacy, building ships, supplying arms, and negotiating support. The Confederacy offered a deal, British help, in exchange for resolving the Canadian issue. Britain used the South as a proxy, avoiding direct invasion costs. The turning point came in 1862. After a major Confederate victory, Britain and France recognized the Confederacy. The Royal Navy openly challenged the Union blockade, and British troops massed in Atlantic bases ready to liberate Canada. The US now faced war on two fronts. Confederates in the south, British and Canadian rebels in the north. The Union's resources were stretched to the breaking point. Lincoln's struggle was no longer just about preserving the Union. It was about survival against old and new enemies. The two-front war proved impossible for the Union. British forces landed along the Atlantic and up the St. Lawrence, welcomed as liberators by Canadians. American garrisons, stretched thin and beset by rebellion, collapsed. By 1864, the Union Jack flew over Quebec and Toronto. American control in the north was lost. Facing defeat, stalemate, and anti-war sentiment, Lincoln was forced to negotiate. The Treaty of Washington in 1865 recognized Confederate independence and returned Canada to Britain. The dream of a coast-to-coast republic was shattered. The US was confined between the Atlantic and Pacific, with hostile neighbors to north and south. The psychological blow was immense. Manifest destiny was dead. North America was now a continent of three rival powers, setting the stage for future conflicts. The Confederacy's independence was built on slavery, but its main ally, Britain, had long abolished the practice. Once the Treaty of Washington was signed, pressure from London and Paris mounted. The Confederacy needed loans, trade, and legitimacy, support that depended on ending slavery. The debate over abolition tore the new nation apart. Modernizers pushed for gradual emancipation. Hardliners resisted. Economic reality and diplomatic pressure prevailed. By the 1870s, the Confederate Congress began dismantling slavery, not out of morality but necessity. The peculiar institution was phased out by the demands of the very allies who had helped the South win. The Confederacy survived, but as a very different nation than its founders intended. Independence came with a price transformation. This alternate civil war set the stage for a radically different 20th century. The diminished United States turned inward, focused on tense relations with the Confederacy and British Canada. There was no American century. The US never became a global superpower. Britain, at its zenith, dominated the world, with Canada as a loyal dominion. The absence of a powerful, unified America changed the course of world events, from the world wars to the rise of fascism and communism. North America's disunity allowed totalitarian ideologies to spread further. The world became a multipolar, unstable place, lacking the foundation of a triumphant United States. The United Nations, if it existed, might have been based in London, not New York. The Cold War, if it happened, would be a chaotic web of shifting alliances. Modern history, as we know it, would look completely different. After this journey into alternate history, let's breathe a sigh of relief. The story of Canada could have taken a very different path, but it didn't, and that's something worth reflecting on. The US conquering and holding Canada during the War of 1812 was never likely. The odds were stacked against such an outcome from the very beginning, with geography, distance, and determination all playing their part. America lacked the army, logistics, and political will to occupy such a vast, resistant land. The challenges of supply lines, harsh winters, and unfamiliar territory made the idea of permanent occupation nearly impossible. In reality, American invasions were repelled by British, Canadian, and indigenous defenders fighting for their homes. Their unity and resolve turned the tide, ensuring that Canada remained free from foreign rule. Canada's identity was forged in that resistance, not as a pawn, but as a nation built on its own terms. The struggle helped shape a sense of pride and belonging that endures to this day. It navigated between two great powers, embracing multiculturalism and building a society on peace, order, and good government. Canada's path was one of careful choices and a commitment to inclusivity. Canada's existence today, with its distinct identity and two official languages, is a testament to its resilience. The country's ability to balance diversity and unity is a rare achievement in the world. Be proud of a history that chose negotiation over revolution, unity in diversity over enforced uniformity. Canada's story is one of peaceful evolution, not violent upheaval. The alternate past is a grim reminder of what might have been. It shows us the value of the choices made and the paths not taken. Canada did not become the 51st state. It became Canada. It grew into a nation recognized for its independence, compassion, and strength. That is a victory worth remembering. It's a legacy that continues to inspire Canadians and the world. Your history is not an accident. It is an achievement. It's a story of perseverance, unity, and hope for the future.